Welcome back to the 311 Griffin YouTube channel. This is the first round of the DCS March Madness 2022. I am in the number 8 seeded F-18 Hornet against the number 1 seeded MIG29 set on veteran, labels on. I have set up my plane and I am cranking off to the right. As you guys know, if you've watched a lot of my videos, I tend to be pretty predictable and I crank the direction of the sun almost every time. I need to probably stop that. I don't think it gives me too much tactical advantage. It could, but especially in BVR, it's not going to give much. So I'm still not superb with the F-18 radar. I'm getting a little bit better with it, and I'm trying to get it set up. Oh, and here I'm getting set up to drop my tanks whenever I get to altitude. I don't want to wait too long because the controls are a little bit funky and I don't have my touchscreen set up for the F-18 yet. It makes it a little bit more cumbersome to drop tanks, and I don't want to be like in the middle of trying to turn and trying to keep tabs on them. So go ahead and drop it and then get repositioned so that I can continue the fight here. So yep, we got our radar looking off to the left there while we crank to the right. There's not an AWACS or any other aircraft in the air, so I am getting some information from my radar, which is good. He's on there, and so I can just lock him up. Switch it to auto. And of course he's locked me up. If I'm looking at this video right, he's about 25 miles out right here. So I'm going to start turning back in. I used to wait longer and try to get just a single shot. There's Fox 3 a little bit early. I wasn't quite nose on yet. That's okay. Continue around. There's a missile in the air, or I'm assuming there's a missile in the air. And so I'm going to crank off the other direction. I'm hoping that it was cranking towards me. Pop some chaff and flares. It could be medium range thermal. Now I see it because luckily I have labels on. So I can pull pretty hard and pop more countermeasures. Launch another missile, Fox 3, as we come through. And then continue to descend a little bit to keep my energy up. And again, because I've got labels on, I can see that this one's still kind of tracking me. It's getting fairly close, but it's low on energy, so pop some more countermeasures and pull up, and it goes right under. I might have died if I didn't have labels on. So that's something I definitely need to get better at. The MiG-29 goes down, and that's us moving on. So we'll do a cinematic view of this one, kind of the highlights, cutting a little bit out as much as possible, and then we'll move on to the second round. Alright, I am in the number 2 seeded F-16 against the number 7 seeded Su27. That seems off. I think I might have messed up a little bit on the seedings. I'm going to, well, I won't spoil it yet. But again, we are kind of getting our plane set up, and then we're going to crank off to the right. It's a little bit different time of day. Doesn't matter as much which direction you crank here, but I am a little bit rusty on the Viper, and it's a little bit different than the Hornet. When the Viper first came out, as it was being developed in early access, I spent a lot of time on it, and I've really tried to get better with with air-to-air and air-to-ground modes. And I spent a lot of time on gunfighting or dogfighting with guns only, and not so much time every time I get in it to try to learn the missiles. It's just kind of frustrating. It doesn't seem to work in a way that makes sense to me, and maybe it's because it was still being developed. So anyway, I kind of gave up on that for a while, moved back to the Hornet, and I'm really getting more and more used to the Hornet, and it's making me less and less used to the F-16. So excuses. We're gonna get set up here to jettison these tanks. There they go, tanks away, back to AA mode. And then we're going to pop the HSD up here. So again, we've got our radar looking off to the left, we're cranking to the right. I'm trying to put the Bandit right on the limit, and I can't tell what range I have on the radar in this video. It looks like it might be 80 miles, so but I'm turning back in, so it makes me think that it's oh yeah, I was trying to do TWS mode, and I remember that there's something interesting about TWS in the F-16, and it was messing me up. I think it's actually powerful in the F-16, but I wasn't using it right, so I had to switch back to range while scan mode, get STT, Fox 3, and then I'm going to roll back off to the right and descend. And of course we're doing our normal descending, trying to maneuver a bit, trying to crank and drag the missile with us, popping countermeasures when we need to. Try to keep an eye on him, and I'm getting a little bit greedy here. I probably should crank a little bit harder. I also really need to learn how to tell. I used to think that I knew this, but I just can't remember how to tell when the missile's gone pitbull. I've just not been able to figure that out. I did it in BMS a while back, and I can't remember now. So we're turning back through Fox 3 again, and now we're going to crank off the other way. We climbed a little bit, and now we're rolling back around. Our energy's pretty good here. And here comes the missile. I see the missile, so I'm going to go ahead and dive a little bit and maneuver. I'm trying to keep the Su-27, keep my radar looking at him. There, I defeated that missile. That was good. And here's where I get really greedy. I turn back in because I think I've got a better position, and I launch again, but he's got a missile off the rail, and I'm heading straight for it. It had plenty of energy, and then there you see my missile missed. Alright, so I'm in the F-16C now against the M2000C. This is a number 3 versus number 6 seeding according to my seemingly random bracketing. In this particular case, I decided to go pretty much straight on. I didn't crank too much at first. There's a lot of the video that I chopped off, and I just tried to build up some energy and build up some altitude. I'm still doing so, and now I've got him locked It looks like he's coming in close to 40 miles. He's at about 45, a little bit less. Yeah, I'm cranking off to the left this time. Big surprise, that's the direction the sun is in this video. I'm climbing a little bit steeper than I probably should, burning off a little bit of energy, but I am getting a lot of altitude, and the F-15, especially since it's a lower fidelity module, it's not bad, but it may climb a little bit better than it should, maybe. I don't really know. We're getting relatively close to our maximum launch range. He's under 40 miles. Alright, closing in on 30. There's our launch permission, or launch queue, you might say. I'm not quite ready. 30 miles is a bit. He's tracking us. Okay, closing in on 20 miles. It's about 22, I'm guessing. I can't tell in the HUD. There's a missile launch. We're not going to worry about it too much because it's almost a max range launch. I am going to start pulling back in. I'd like to launch at about 15 miles or so. I think this one's going to be about 18. Whoops, got my buttons messed up. Fox 3. That's more of the F-18 confusion. We're going to continue rolling around to the right. He's at about 12 miles, and there's that super, and oh my goodness, it scared me. That thing, I am not used to fighting those. And I think they're quick. I think they've got pretty good range. That thing carried a lot of energy even though I was cranking, and it almost got me. Once again, if I didn't have labels turned on, I would have been dead. I can guarantee it in this case. I would have died because I would not have maneuvered that hard, and our Fox 3 got him. So we're going to move on. I think in this particular case, the Mirage probably deserved the win. You know, I'm betting if it was another player in the Mirage, I would have been dead. If I wouldn't have had labels turned on, I would have been dead. But we're going to go ahead and take the win and move on. Okay, here we go. F-14 Tomcat, ranked 5th against the JF-17 Thunder, ranked 4th in this bracket. The AI doesn't really utilize the Tomcat properly, and I'd like to see that changed. I mean, I don't want it to be... well, I don't know. Maybe it does. But it seems like the Tomcat, the little bit that I know about it, it has the capability of launching Phoenixes at a longer range than the AI tends to launch at. I am happy to see this guy go supersonic. Sometimes the AI just doesn't want to use its speed as an advantage, and the Tomcat's fast, so I'm glad to see that. The JF-17 obviously supersonic as well. There goes a Fox 3 SD10. I think those are SD10s, right? My mind's going blank at the moment. Our Tomcat gets a Phoenix away. They're both cranking now the same direction. Both popping chaff. Okay, the JF-17 is turning back in. He's going to give him the second missile. There it goes, and the tank is away. Tomcat's maneuvering a little too hard, maybe? Burning off a lot of energy. There goes the tanks. They should have already been ditched, I imagine. Probably should have a second missile on the way, too. This kind of maneuvering, like, I wouldn't recommend it. The AI is really messing up here. They should, and maybe it's because they're trying to keep a radar lock or something, I guess, but they're dead. They kind of turned back and forth through straight on with the enemy a couple of times there, and it's burning energy for no advantage. But anyway, that's all for this video. The JF-17's moving on. We're going to move to the second bracket and then the third bracket in our next couple of videos. And as always, thank you for watching.